Imagine your household without a television. Would you spend more time with your loved ones? Would you spend more time, free time being active and outside? Television can impact households in various ways. Now having nieces and nephews, I've started to truly see the way media is changing across generations and how often it's being used. The four main points I will discuss today is the amount of TVs in the household, how often the TV is on in the household, where the TV is being watched, and the impact of television on children and youth. Now let's talk about the amount of TVs that are generally within the household. When I asked my audience how many TVs are in or were in your parents' household, out of 13 students, 1 said 0, 3 said 1, 5 said 2, 2 said 3, 1 said 4, and lastly we have one student here that had 7 TVs in their parents' house. It's pretty wild. Crystal Dakota stated that in an online article in 2015 titled "How Many TV Sets Do You Have and Why Does It Matter?" on Scientific America, that in early 90s predicted there would be at least 2 televisions per household by 95. But in measures to 2015, we have found that there's an average of 2.86 televisions per household. And I know you're thinking 0.86 of a television, but on a broad scale throughout the US, it definitely adds up. Next, we will talk about how often the television is on. When I asked my audience on a scale from 1 to 4, 1 being 1 to 5 hours, 2 being 5 to 10 hours, 3 being 10 to 15 hours, and finally 4 being 15 plus hours, circling the one that best shows how long you spend watching TV in a week. 5 students ranked it a 1, 4 students ranked it a 2, 3 students ranked it a 3, and lastly 1 student ranked it 15 plus hours on a 4. In the article stated previously, Crystal looked at the average, which is coming up to about 6 hours per day. And if you're looking at for the daily percentage of time, we are looking at about 40% of an individual's free time on a daily basis, and that's including roughly about 8 hours of sleep per day. Television, and then also Crystal noted in a cross-cultural, in the article previously stated, Crystal noted in a cross-cultural study conducted in the 1980s with anthropologist Susan Kent looked at television viewing habits among the Navajo, Spanish American, and Euro-American families, and she found that regardless of the ethnic group, it's pretty much the same throughout, so it is global scale roughly. Now let's talk about where television is being watched. In the article that was stated previously, one of the largest changes from 1980 to now is where we watch television. In this example, we looked at cable. So with more cable options on television, necessity for more viewing options grew, and television has become more individualized. You might want to watch something that your sister doesn't want to watch, or mom, or vice versa, which makes us interact with our household less. And this can also come into correlation with different streaming sites such as Hulu and Netflix. All individual, you all have your own time to do it. Next, we will talk about the influences television has on children and youth. So, when we're looking at education, in the article stated previously, television can actually inhibit learning, like educational shows such as Sesame Street, which shows improvements in reading and learning. So there are some aspects that television can be good. But if we're looking at the aspect of violence, violence is on the rise. In the article previously, or in 2003, through an article titled "Impact of Media on Children and Youth" by Pediatrics and Child Health, average child sees 12,000 violent acts on television annually. This heavy exposure to violence can increase aggression, especially in boys. Next, to continue this, we're going to look at nutrition. In the article stated previously, television takes time away from play and exercise and limits physical activity. It also has become a large contributor to obesity. In 2016, through an article, online article, "Television Watching and Sit Time" by Harvard School of Public Health states, evidence that early TV habits may have long-lasting effects. They did 2 studies that followed children from birth, TV viewing in childhood, all the way to middle, and adult life, and they predict that obesity risk well into adult life and midlife. So even starting young, it'll go all the way through. Television can also contribute to eating disorders due to depictions of celebrities and models. Everybody will think you want to be the skinniest, and that can also be very bad. In conclusion, television can impact households in various ways, and we went through 4 main points. That was, again, the amount of TVs in the household, how often the TV is on in the household, where the TV is being watched, and the impact on television on children and youth. Now that we have taken a look at several different ways television has impacted the household, both good and bad, I hope you make a conscious decision when you have kids of your own to choose what they watch and how long they watch it for. Thank you.